What is up, and welcome everybody to yet another episode of the Pizza Palace with, of course, your host Robert Winstanley and your favorite man on the internet. It is Hollywood Sean Murphy. How are you, sir?
Oh my god! I every time it will never not catch me off guard. Hollywood. I'm doing well, man. How are you? It's good to see you.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you. I didn't want to tell you this until I got on the pod. Just about a minute ago, I went to get a drink, and I'm so tired that I tried putting the ice tray into the cupboard with all the cups instead of in the freezer because that's where my brain was at. I was like, "Oh, ice is done. Go back with
dude,
cups."
the amount of times that when I was a child, like living with my parents, I would open the cup drawer, like to grab a cup or whatever, and there'd be a fucking gallon of milk or a half gallon of milk in there. And I'd be like, well, there's some ruined fucking milk. How'd this get in here? And then my mom would be like, oh, shit.
There's just like a full, like just like a half gallon sitting there for like 7 hours.
Oh, yeah, easily. My mom would do that all the time. And then my mom would be like, oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
And I would just die laughing. And I'd be like, Mom, what are you doing? And she'd be like, I don't know. I had this thing and that thing. And so then she'd have to go and get another fucking gallon of it.
Well, because you get so tired. You know what I mean? It's just like a,
for sure.
Fuck. You know what I mean?
Well, she was taking care of two kids while my dad had worked, I think, like third shift or some bullshit. So he slept most of the day and then had to work at night. And so it's like she basically kind of had to do everything. And so she would just put fucking milk in the cupboard and be like, son of a bitch. So,
yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like when you have so much going on, or when you're doing stuff, it's like, you know, you can lose the handle of those small things. You know what I mean? So.
I have 100% multiple times put a box of cereal in the fridge because I was like putting away the milk, and then I just for some reason threw that in there, and then I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I would like go later and see like a Frosted Flakes just sitting in the fucking fridge, and I'd be like, God damn it.
So my mom, she used to have this habit when I was younger where bread, well, any type of bread was always stored in the oven. I want to repeat that. I want to repeat that. The storage place for our bread for a number of years was the oven.
Oh, wait. So, what if she had to use the oven?
Oh, I'm getting there, Robert, because believe me, we did have this scenario happen quite a few times. And what would happen is your bread would be fucked. All the cool thing would be you learn that like the plastic on the outside would like get stuck to the rack in the oven as well. And it would just smell like everything's burning.
Because you would go to like what, preheat the oven and forget the bread's in there?
Yes, all the time. And like we had a babysitter accidentally have that happen to her a couple times. She tried to preheat our oven, and like my mom would like, I remember like she would come up, she'd be like, God damn it, like why, like and she'd be like, come on, just check the oven. I'm like, check for what? The only time you check an oven is to make sure there's food in there, because you put food in an oven to cook.
That is, without exaggeration, the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Because what would happen was in the kitchen cupboards, there would be so much crap that would accumulate over time that wouldn't be cleaned out. That it was like, we don't need room. We need to make more room. I know. You know what's not you know what doesn't have things in it? The oven. Let's store it in the oven. That'll be.
I've heard of like people storing their pots and pans in there. Like I've definitely seen that where like people will put like their cookie sheets and whatever, which is like also stupid, but at least like if you're just heating metal, it's like, well.
And listen, if you store anything in an oven,
you're an idiot anyway.
Well, you're literally begging for it. Like you literally are just, please, God, please fuck up my life. You know what I mean? Like just, it infuriated me. I needed both the and to say fuck.
Yeah, for sure.
Both. Yeah.
I need an answer to one other question though. So if let's say you remembered to take out the bread and then you used the oven and you made some pizza rolls or some bullshit.
What do you do when you're done?
Right. Do you just throw the bread back in there because then the bread's still fucked?
Well,
or do you like set it on the counter for a while, wait for it to cool, and then put it back in the oven?
You set it on the counter for a while. You see, because my mom, she hates anything out on the counter. Like that's like her. That is like the bane to her existence. Like you can.
I was gonna say something, but it doesn't belong on pod.
That is fair. That is fair. But like, yeah. So there would she would not like, she doesn't like anything on the counter, and so like you could put things there, they sure as hell better not stay there. And so like if they accumulate over time, like because it's like one of those things where it's like, you could place something down, you just hope mom doesn't walk back around to see it. So essentially, like with bread, it was like, all right, well, that's the one thing, you put it on top of the oven. And then later that night, like later on, like when we're done with the oven, when it's all cooled down, my mom would throw it in there and then it would be done. That would be the way.
That is fucking insane.
It is. Robert, I tell you, I have had to deal. There are two things in my childhood and just in general with living with my parents. There are two things that were just fundamental disagreements that we had.
Yeah.
That I just still never understood.
One being the oven and bread.
The first being the oven and bread.
Mm-hmm.
The second is that the door handle at our house has been busted.
Bro, on the front door?
For 6 years.
Dude, it used to irritate the shit out of me.
It has been busted. Literally, we are going over half a decade now.
I think it's been broken since we've been friends.
It has been broken longer than that, is the sad thing.
So
I literally think
ridiculous.
It got broke. I think it was broken for 3 years when we were friends, but I think I didn't care about it because it was. So here's the thing. It used to be broken, but you could still get into the door. But like the thing is, you would have to like get at the right angle, or you'd have to hit it right. Like there'd be. Well, I
remember that because we went up to your front door. I remember, I think the first time we hung out, and like it was weird trying to get in, and it was like a total fucking thing. And I was like, "What's going on with this?"
Yeah, and then I was like, "Don't worry, I got it. It just does this." But then eventually, when even I couldn't get it to work, it was like, "Okay, well this is broken. We got to do something about this." And I remember going to my parents, being like, "Hey, so the doorknob's broken. Could we get it fixed, or could we get it replaced?" Yeah, we'll do it eventually. Or either that, or my dad would say, "It's broken." Or it's not broken, it still works. It's fine. And I'm like, "No, it doesn't work." And so he was like, I'm going to go test it right now. I said, "Please do." And so
did you lock him outside?
I locked him outside. And then this guy, for like almost 5 minutes, kept trying to press on this door handle. And then eventually I just hear knock, 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 knock. And so I come down, let him in, and he was like, "Doorknob's broken." I'm like, "I told you."
Didn't they just renovate the house?
And so here's the thing.
Okay.
My family, I kid you not, new flooring.
Yeah.
You're talking about new siding on the house at some point.
Sure.
Replace carpeting. Did new paint job. All that. And I said, "Okay, so what about the doorknob?" And they're like, "Oh, we're just going to wait. We're getting a new door."
What?
So apparently, when the doorknob's broken, you got to replace the door.
That's like selling a car when it's time to change tires, which Katie did once.
Like selling your car when it needs an oil change.
That is so fucking crazy.
It brings me like, the amount of rage it brings me, that mother door handle, dude.
Dude, it used to irritate the shit out of me too, and I wasn't even there that much.
Yeah, it's stupid.
I was like, "What are we doing? This is stupid."
So, Mom and Dad, if you're listening to this, I love you both, but for the love of God, Don't
Fix your
store bread in the oven
door handle,
and get that damn door handle replaced.
please. First of all, this has got to be the best intro to this show that has ever happened,
Oh,
easily.
Listen, I knew we were in for a good one because here's the thing. There's like those moments where I feel like there's two types of episodes that are great, right? There's the ones where you turn on the mic and you just feel like you're clicking on all cylinders.
Right.
And like the news you're talking about is engaging and everything's going well. You know
Sure.
that it's like funny and engaging.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the one where you just hit record and from the first second you don't give a fuck. And whatever
It's just
happens
off the rails.
and whatever happens within the confines of that recording, you didn't plan for, you didn't anticipate, but damn it, we're here.
That's right. Dude, to circle back to the bread conversation.
Yes, let's circle back. Let's circle back.
So my family always kept the bread on top of the toaster, which I also thought was kind of an odd place, but it kind of made sense because, you make toast and it's right there. The only thing was
it like a big toaster?
Yeah, it was like 4 slice.
They kept it on. They kept it above the toaster.
Well, they kept it like, where like the slots are. We just set it on top.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was like a 4 slice toaster, so it's like this big.
Oh, okay, so you got a thick Papa toaster. Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, this thing was 4. I'm talking literally 4.
Yeah,
I'm like a big ass. Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways, so we would usually keep it up there. Now, of course, after you use it, it's hot as fuck, so you can't just like put the loaf of bread back up. So you usually just set it in front of the toaster, and then eventually it cools down. You set it back up there. Not a big deal.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Now, Katie's family, what they like to do is her mom is a psychopath and likes to ruin bread because she has 2 options. She either puts the shit in the fridge, and then her other option is to put it in the freezer, both of which fucking ruin the bread immediately.
Can I just talk about how that doesn't make any like? Look, here's
it's
the
to
thing.
keep it more fresh, but it literally fucking does the opposite.
Here's the thing. Yeah, I get you want to keep your bread fresh. All that's great. Then don't buy bread. like you have 2 choices. Either buy the bread, accept it's going to expire, plan appropriately.
That's right.
Use said bread as efficiently as possible.
That's correct.
Or don't buy bread.
Exactly.
Because
dude, they buy bagels and throw them in the freezer or some shit, and then you end up with hockey pucks.
Yeah, because again, like because here's the thing. Again, if you do it with like meat, if you get like burgers and you throw them in the oven or like in the freezer, that's different. Because you can
that's very different.
Because you can thaw that out. It's exactly like you put it in there. Everything's good.
That's correct.
What makes bread good is not equal to putting it in the freezer.
Literally, dude. It's insanity. So like the one thing that we immediately agreed on when we got married was like the bread situation.
You got to figure that shit out because
you have to, because apparently most people are insane. So we have a nice bread box, that sits on the counter. You fucking put it in there and it's fine. Now we did discover one thing that is a bit of an issue is that if you put like, let's say like blueberry muffins or something, and you stick them in the bread box along with other breads, such as let's say hot dog buns. When you go to eat hot dogs, they have a weird hint of fucking blueberry flavor. It's really, really terrible.
Okay, so I'm gonna propose we don't do we this bread thing that we're doing. We do not that.
I don't know. I think people are interested in this. I think this is good conversation.
Dude, oh my, that's the thing, that's the $1 million idea. Blueberry muffin hot dog buns.
I can tell you from experience, it's fucking horrible. It's horrible. Dude, I got like through almost an entire hot dog and I was like, what the fuck's wrong with the hot dogs? And Katie just died laughing. She's like, yeah.
All right, now here's the $1 million question because, we're off the fucking rails already. That
is correct.
We're 15 minutes in. This shit never had rails to begin with.
I'm good with that.
What was your go-to method when you did not have hot dog buns? Like, let's say like you were either out of buns or hot dog buns were expired. What do you do? Because here's the thing, the first
It's a
option.
good question.
Because here's what I did, and I think I was pretty elaborate. I would cut the hot dogs in half.
Okay.
Vertically.
Right.
And then I would take those little halves and turn them into quarters. And then I would take those quarters, I would literally slice it
I get it.
down the middle of the hot dog. Like not
right.
Yeah. And then I would make a sandwich out of it. And then I would stack
So
that
you
on
just
the
make it
bread.
into thin slices.
Yeah,
You made it essentially into bologna.
Well, I essentially took not like thin, but I took like the little parts and I just put them all up on top of each other on bread, and I'd throw on some ketchup, and then you had a big old hot dog sandwich.
Wait, does that make a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh my god! Wait, what if a hot dog already is a sandwich? And is that a hot dog sandwich?
Well, the hot dog isn't a sandwich.
Okay,
I guess.
There's going off the rails. There's straight heathery. This shit's
all right. So my answer though is that there was really only two options for me. I either cut it into pieces and then just ate it and dipped it in ketchup or whatever, had no bread, and it just kind of sucked ass.
Yeah.
I stopped doing that pretty quick because I was like, this is fucking heinous.
Yeah.
So
because you gotta, if you don't have buns, because here's the thing, either the real option is if you don't have buns, either go get buns or wait. That's the real answer. That's the real answer.
That's the real answer.
Yeah.
What I did do occasionally, and I hated it immediately, was I would just take a slice of white bread, stick the fucking dog in there.
Oh no.
Ketchup, and then just use it as
no.
a bun. Fucking fold the white bread up and fucking.
Oh no! You see, there is a reason I never did that. And the reason was I didn't hate myself. No, but also I think I tried that one time. I've definitely done that.
Oh, it's
before.
horrible.
Because
horrible.
Because even though it's not like a proper hot dog, you look at it and you expect it to somewhat taste like a normal hot dog.
You really do.
And then it's like, oh my god, like the bread with the hot, it's like these just don't mix well together.
It's even worse when you the bread is getting soaked in the ketchup and you're like, what the fuck?
Yes.
So what I did is I ended up doing double bread. So I did 2 slices of bread and folded.
The problem wasn't first there's trouble, make it double.
More bread.
Yes, children, I need more bread.
Oh my fucking god. Okay, I think we've solved.
I need all of it. Give me the bread, please.
Oh Jesus Christ. Okay, I think we've solved the bread conundrum.
I think we figured
the folks.
Oh my god, we figured
if
out.
There's literally a single person still listening. Don't put your bread in the oven. Don't put it in the fridge, not the freezer. Put it in a bread box or fucking don't buy bread. I don't know what to tell you. And also, if you don't got buns, then don't eat dogs. You know what I'm saying?
This is going to be the first episode of the Pizza Palace with timestamps so that people know when the real episode starts.
Timestamps. If you don't like entertainment, then skip to this. But at that point, I don't know why you're listening to this podcast, to be quite honest with you. I'm pretty sure that's what the From Half Court is for. That's the real podcast. This is the I don't want to listen to just sport. This is the entertainment cast.
This is the side adventure. This is
the fun one. This is for people that like fun.
Are you saying basketball is fun, Robert?
Basketball is plenty of fun unless you're a fan of the Sacramento Kings.
It's true. By the way, I do want to point out, I saw something today that really tickled my heart, and I wanted you to know it.
All right.
So, I sent this to you already today, so you've already seen it. However, it's fun to bring up in the context of a podcast. So, the Sacramento Kings, they made their trade for Domantas Sabonis to push for the play-in tournament. It was a win now.
Hilarious.
Move. It was a win now move, right?
Win now.
So it was a win now move, right? So
Yeah.
because they claimed it was a win now move. Now since
No, I know. I just still think that that's the dumbest shit ever.
Oh, I agree, because since the trade, the Sacramento Kings are 3-10. Okay?
Sick.
The Indiana Pacers, since this trade, are 3-10.
Wonderful.
Which teams win now? Which team's the rebuilding team?
Exactly, dude. It's unbelievable.
The difference is one of them just got one of the best young guards available in the league, and the other just traded him away just to get a big man who's really underwhelming when it comes to when you need him most.
Facts.
Like,
yeah, because one franchise definitely has now a core that they can, start to form and then build around. The other team is lost in the desert, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's so I needed to bring that up just because it made
for
me
sure
happy. So the first actual thing that we said on this podcast is get shit on Domantas Sabonis and the Sacramento. Well, not Domantas. I like Domantas, but get shit on Sacramento Kings.
He's all right.
Yep.
So speaking of teams lost in the desert, Sean, the team behind me, the Seattle Seahawks, have made a bit of a move here. Now, you will notice I am wearing an Edmonton Oilers jersey.
You are.
Now, there's a few reasons for this. Number one is because I watched the Wayne Gretzky documentary, or 30 for 30, of him being traded to the LA Kings. And also because I felt like fittingly it's a huge trade in the NFL. Now, is it Gretzky level? No, it's not. But there was two really, really big things that happened in the NFL today. And obviously the biggest one being the Seattle Seahawks losing really their franchise quarter. I mean,
not losing, letting them walk, letting them go.
Well, yeah, sure. Getting rid of him, because they do get a lot in return on some level. But I mean, when you think of the Seattle Seahawks, you think of Russell Wilson. I mean, he is the franchise. I mean, he brought the franchise its first Super Bowl ring, and almost could have been 2 in a row. Should have been, but definitely should have been if they had been smart and given it to Marshawn Lynch. But hey, but no, it's crazy. Like, I mean, he really is the guy that you think of when you think of Seattle. Now, I think at first glance with this is what I have expected for a while, was that Russ was going to get traded. Now, I know that it started to become very popular that, he's not going anywhere, blah, blah, blah. I never believed that. I've been thinking since the outset of last season that it would be his last year in a Seahawks uniform. And my brother told me I was stupid, and a lot of people told me I was stupid. Turns out I'm not fucking stupid. So I win again.
Turns out when there's smoke, there's fire. Who would have thought?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, he's definitely going somewhere. Now, of course, biased, I thought maybe he could go to the Raiders. I never thought that was realistic. I never thought that would actually really happen.
I don't think anyone ever said the Broncos either, because the Broncos were so closely tied to the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. But apparently, what we didn't know is that
we're going to get to Aaron Rodgers. Save that one.
Well, no, what I was saying is what we did know with this, like not with Aaron Rodgers, what we didn't know about this trade is that it's been in the works for quite a few weeks. We didn't know this was even a thing. Like, what we didn't know was that in the background, this has been getting worked on for probably about a month, probably since the Super Bowl.
And it's pretty interesting because, the list of teams that were brought up in the first place, right? Like, some of the teams he wanted to go to were the Bears, who drafted their franchise quarterback. Now, who knows what Justin Fields will be, but even still, I mean, maybe, who knows? I'm not going to shit on him because I don't know what he's going to turn into. The Cowboys were an option, but of course they just gave a huge deal to Dak, so that's not going to happen anymore.
Right.
And then one of the other teams, the 49ers, but one of the other options was Vegas. And I thought that, who knows? I was like, well, with new management coming in, or a new general manager, a new head coach, and some other things coming in, maybe this is his chance to kind of go in and also say, hey, I want to shape this franchise around me, and you guys have kind of a blank slate. Let's do it, But instead he chose to sort of win now, which we'll get into it. But at first glance, I expected this to happen. And I thought that it was good for Seattle. I really thought that this was a good move for them, because I feel like They kind of stalled out anyways. At this point, they've kind of gotten out of Russ what they were going to get, and they clearly do not have enough time to give him what he needs to go on yet another run. So while you have some value in him as it was starting to fall a little bit this year, admittedly, you might as well get the best return that you can. And I think they did. I think they got the best return that they could get.
So they definitely got quite the return. They definitely got quite the return. However, the other thing is, so first of all, let's read the return. So
Sure.
the picks that Seattle will be getting in return in this trade are Denver's 2022 first round pick, their second round pick, 2023's first and second round picks, and 2022 fifth round pick in exchange for Seattle's fourth round pick. So it looks like they get to pick twice in the fifth. They get to pick twice in the first. They get to pick twice in the second. And then next year, they also get to pick in the first and the second. Those are pretty good, pretty darn good picks. Yeah.
What number pick do they have this year?
The Broncos had the number 9 overall pick. So they get a top
not
10.
bad.
Yes, they get a top 10. Here's the thing. First of all, I listened, first place, one of the first people I go to whenever I look up football stuff. I like to listen to Colin Cowherd a little bit. He knows what he's talking about. He got on he said he was on a phone with an NFL executive who called the move highway robbery, and for the Denver Broncos. And now here's the thing. First of all, this is an unprecedented amount of draft capital that's being given up in exchange for a quarterback.
Correct.
I think, what I will say is, if you look at how Seattle's been at drafting players over the course of the last few years, hasn't looked great. And on top of that, I just think anytime, I don't know, for me personally, this as a Lions fan, looking at us, we let Matt Stafford out the door, it's yeah, it's probably right. It's probably for the best. But, at the same time, when you're trading that kind of known commodity, that kind of talent, which, Russell Wilson is even more coveted than Matt Stafford was. I would argue Matt Stafford might be more talented than him right now. However, he was Russell Wilson, pretty damn coveted, and it shows why, right? It's just, I don't know. For me, I have a hard time seeing Seattle being able to put this into something outside of Russell Wilson, because they really haven't been able to do much of that in a while. Now, what I will say, you damn better be able to with all these picks you're going to have. Your team,
right.
your team might be able to get better pretty quick. I know they got Drew Lock in return as well, which, okay.
He's literally just a warm body on the field. Yeah. It's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. He is the ragdoll that is going to get shit on while we're waiting for those other picks to come in. But the other thing is just, for me, looking on the side of the Denver Broncos. Now, how old is Russell Wilson? He's in his early 30s, right?
Let me Google it real quick. Sorry, I was also looking up
no, you're good. I can look it up.
Seahawks draft
their
history.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He is 33.
Okay, he's 33. So realistically, if I'm the Denver Broncos, I probably have, as far as just his throwing arm alone, let's say he's not a mobile quarterback towards the end of his career. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's going to get a little less mobile. I would imagine you're still going to get a pretty productive Russell Wilson for 7 years.
Right.
Until he's 40, at least.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for Denver, I think this is a pretty great move. I think this moves them as a serious team. Does this make them a contender right away? I don't know. Right now, I'd still probably lean towards no. I don't really know talent-wise. I know there's been rumblings with Von Miller coming back to Denver. Now we know why. And
LOL.
And there's just, listen, this division in the
Yeah,
AFC West, I would not want to be in that division
me
because
either.
Jesus Christ.
But
Now,
unfortunately, the Raiders are.
the any time that you could make the argument that Russell Wilson is the third best quarterback in your division,
Right.
like you could make that argument that Justin Herbert's better than him day one.
He
Now,
definitely is.
now Derek Carr and the Raiders.
Derek Carr, I like him. Go
it,
Raiders.
now, if I'm the Oakland Raiders
Sure. Las Vegas, but
or Las Vegas, what
I do the same thing all the time.
who gives a shit? No, I'm kidding. The Las Vegas Raiders.
It's true.
If I'm them, I am terrified, and I am talking about possibly rebuilding and waiting it out because
They're basically in a rebuild.
I know, but here's the thing: they might as well full commit to it now.
They never will. They're the fucking Raiders.
Well, I know they won't, but I mean, if I'm the leader of the Oakland Raiders, if I have that ugly fucking bowl cut and I'm the one that's making the decisions, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you leave Mark Davis alone, goddammit.
Listen, Mark Davis has so much money that he can't. Like, listen, you have so much money. There is no excuse for you to have that bad of a haircut. I know you pay too much money to get that fucking dome cut in the bowl shape that it is.
You know, listen, you're not wrong, but what are you gonna do? So I definitely agree on a lot of what you're saying. I do want to backtrack a little bit here to the Seahawks drafting history. Now, here's the thing that I immediately thought of is like, are they the best at drafting? Not necessarily, although no team really is. I mean, there's a lot of hit and miss, and that's just the way it be.
Yeah, for sure.
They've done somewhat decent. I mean, in 2015, they got Tyler Lockett, who obviously it's not like he's, some amazing whatever, but I mean, he's kind of their Wes Welker in a way, or their what the fuck's that other dude's name? That little short midget dude that was on the Patriots that he fucking loved, that Tom Brady loved.
Edelman, Julian Edelman.
Edelman, yeah. He's kind of like that dude where it's like he just looks really good because of who he's been with. They've also obviously they drafted DK Metcalf, who's been outstanding. I'm just kind of like combing through here a little bit, and I mean they've got some like okay guys, here and there and whatever. They got like Frank Clark or whatever, and these kind of guys. But Cam Chancellor obviously at one point, Earl Thomas was huge. And these were in 2010. Now, I don't know who the front office is, if it's these same guys who are picking these guys, but
I don't think they do have and if they do, I know they haven't been as great of late. So,
sure. But I think, as of late, I mean, just 2 years ago, they got DK Metcalf. So now, and he wasn't even in the first round. So the thing is they've been serviceable enough. And the thing is anytime you get more draft capital, like you're going to get lucky at some point. The more draft picks you have, the more guys that you can sort of take in, and one of them is bound to be pretty good. I think of this in a couple of ways for Seattle. I think that they were kind of in a situation where they were fucked anyways. Like they could have hung on to Russ and continued to try to, piece and cobble together this once great team that no longer has the Legion of Boom and no longer has the offensive line, no longer has the offensive firepower in really any way.
Right.
And you could kind of just keep cobbling it together and keep on making the playoffs and just sort of get bounced at the wild card.
At a certain point, you just got to pull the trigger, and
And here's the thing: he won them a Super Bowl. They did their job, and they technically should have won a second one. So let's say they had won that second Super Bowl, I mean, the guy basically won you 2 Super Bowls. What more could you really ask for at that point?
And I mean, let's be honest too. This trade broke records for the amount of draft picks that the Seattle Seahawks are getting in return. So this is the biggest return for a single player we've probably ever seen.
Which is really strange too, especially because now I like Russell Wilson a lot. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks. I was a very, very big fan. I mean, that's literally why I own this blanket, is because of him and Marshawn Lynch. But it's just one of those situations where I'm like, I don't think he's worth that. I really don't.
Well, and I
think he's a decent quarterback at this point, but I do not think he's anywhere close to what he was.
Right.
And I don't know if the scheme fits even that great. I
Well,
look at this and go, this could easily go really bad for the Broncos. The
oh,
Broncos last season were 7-10. They were fourth in the AFC West. Now, Russell Wilson's definitely going to win them more games because they
yeah.
had Teddy Bridgewater as their main quarterback, I think,
Yeah.
for a lot of it, didn't they?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And but the thing is Teddy Bridgewater and him are somewhat similar. Now, of course, Teddy's no Russell Wilson, don't get me wrong, but
he is no Russell Wilson at all.
they're both mobile quarterbacks who are kind of just sort of run and gun, kind of sling the ball type of guys on some level. Now, obviously, Russ is significantly better at doing that than Teddy is, but the fact remains is that they're a somewhat similar guy. So you get a little bit better guy in there, and that basically puts the Broncos at like 9-9. Is that a possibility? Let's see.
Russell Wilson wins more than 2 more games than fucking Teddy Bridgewater does.
You almost said Geno Smith. So okay, then flip it. Let's say 7-10, or 10-7, 10-7.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and maybe even 11-6. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
which is good enough, and they can make a playoff spot. But it does beg the question of like, is he alone good enough for them to go from fourth in the AFC West, 7-10, to suddenly being a contender up there with the likes of the Chargers or the Raiders, or not the Chargers, or not the Raiders, sorry, the Chiefs and the Chargers. Although the Raiders, by the way, finished above the Chargers 10-7, and also beat them in a playoff game. So the funny thing is that there's all this talk about how the Raiders suck and that they're going to be the fourth team and this, that, whatever. And people forget that they beat the Chargers and finished ahead of them in the AFC West. So now the Chargers have a lot of cap room and that kind of thing. And Justin Herbert's going to continue to get better.
Yeah.
I think that the Chargers will be the number 2 team. But I don't know that Russell Wilson takes this Broncos team and makes them that much better than the Chiefs, who almost made the Super Bowl, and the Chargers, who are on their way towards the Super Bowl.
Right. Well, and as far as, again, the question, where does this put them? Right. I think, first of all, I don't think we're even in a spot where we can judge any team adequately on how they're going to be next year. Because, first of all, draft hasn't even happened yet. So we don't even, second of all, free agency hasn't even really happened yet. We saw guys are getting tagged. However, I mean, let's be real. If
my boy Chris Evans,
yep,
or Chris Godwin, Jesus Christ,
Godwin got tagged by the Buccaneers.
Bucks, yep.
Mm-hmm. Devontae Adams got tagged by the Packers. I know,
makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. So, I know. So with that, I know for a fact that like there's going to be more players that are going to want to come to Denver now. Like that is going to be like the next, or one of the next free agent destinations if they have cap space, and because Russell Wilson, you know what I mean? Like that's a guy that
for
is
sure. It's kind of a Buccaneers situation.
Exactly. Or even like a Rams situation where it's like, okay, well, come on in. It's definitely like a Rams situation with all the picks.
Speaking of that, though, that's the other problem, though, right? Because like, so now you've given up a lot of capital, so now you can't really make trades because they don't have much else to trade.
This is I mean, well, at least for the next couple years, you're strapped because
so it's like you're banking on free agents.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're also banking on just who you have in house now. I mean, because I think that is the one thing you could say about the Broncos is that they have a good roster. They have talent. It's just that they've never been. First of all, Broncos, I don't blame you for trading away all those first round picks, because all those first round and second round picks you've been wasting on quarterbacks. You might as well trade them away to get a good quarterback in return, because you've been wasting them all just to find one anyway. You know what I mean? The amount of first and second round picks they've been throwing into the abyss, just like Drew Lock for one. That's just
literally like,
how many more quarterbacks do we need to see? Like how much more evidence do we need to see that the Denver Broncos can't draft a quarterback? We don't,
for sure.
Like I
just pictured a random quarterback in my head that I haven't thought about in a very long time. What was that dude's name that was there for a while and then went to the Texans? Osweiler?
Brock Osweiler.
Brock Osweiler.
Yeah.
Dude, now there's a name.
Yeah,
now
Brock
here's
Osweiler.
a guy.
Not only was he brought in he was one of the highest paid players in the NFL. by the Houston
Yeah,
Texans.
it's
That
insane.
a contract that they literally got shit day one
Yeah,
about the existence of the contract, and they never saw anything good of it.
it's
Never bared
insane.
fruit. It got traded to the freaking Browns the next year.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Uh-huh. So
But
yeah.
to kind of circle back to the Broncos, the way that I feel about this for them is I kind of look at this. The franchise is for sale. And I think in some ways the current ownership is kind of like, well, we're kind of going to leave anyways. So fuck it. We might as well just
Right.
go for it and see what happens. Now, I definitely think what the hell just happened?
Bishop, my cat,
Yes.
just
Yes.
just tore this away. You can see
Yes.
right
Look at
there.
it. That is so cute.
That is so cute. Oh my god.
Bishop. Oh
Oh
God, I
my
love
god.
Bishop.
I love this. So cool. I'm
So,
sorry.
anyways,
Yeah.
I look at it as kind of the management was probably just like, you know what, fuck it, let's just go for it anyways. We've got a decent amount of whatever. Let's just see what we can do. I believe that they probably inquired about Aaron Rodgers and found out very quickly that that was pretty much never going to happen.
They've probably been in talks with Green Bay for probably the last couple of years. First of all, by the way,
And
makes that Jordan Love pick that much better, huh?
so I was just gonna we're gonna get to that for sure. I'm sticking with the Broncos
Yeah.
in the Seahawks mostly because so I think that this will end up being better overall for the Seahawks, mostly because I think that they were sort of in a shitty situation anyways.
Yeah.
And this gives them a lot of hope for the future. Now, will they use it correctly? Who knows? But was keeping Russell around to lose wild card games any better? Not really.
To
So
me, this is
I feel like it works. And the Broncos, I definitely don't see them as like any more of a contender now. I see them in like the mix, but the thing is you have to go through the Chargers. You got to go through the Chiefs, maybe the Raiders. We don't know. Maybe they bolster their defense and they're still sort of better or at least, as competitive. We don't know. You have the Rams, you have the 49ers who we don't know what's going to happen with them, but the 49ers almost went to a Super Bowl as well. So, I mean, it's just like you have this whole or wait, the 49ers are in the NFC, aren't they?
Yep.
I was thinking the wrong thing. But either way, the AFC is like stacked. Who's in the AFC? Is the Bills?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So the
Bills are in
Bills,
the
right.
FC, Patriots
So,
in the AFC. Yeah.
Right. I'm
You're
like
gonna
looking at all these
you're gonna
teams
have
and
to
I'm
get
just like,
yeah.
the Broncos are literally not going to be better than any of these teams by bringing in Russell Wilson, because if that was the case, then Seattle would have probably been able to get through them. Now, Seattle
Well-
obviously doesn't quite have what the Broncos have, but at the same time, what did Seattle finish last year? Let me see.
Well, here is one thing. I'm curious to see. First of all, being in a new situation, being
The Seahawks were also 7-10.
New offensive line, better defense. Like there are components on the Denver Broncos roster right now that if you put Russell Wilson on their team, like the Seahawks had Russell Wilson and went 7-10. The Broncos did not and went 7. It's like that's a different type of 7-10. That doesn't mean that automatically he goes over there. Like this Seattle team, if they did not have Russell Wilson, they probably would have won 1-16.
Well, maybe 4.
Maybe 4. Yeah, maybe
4.
Maybe 4. But
they win at least as much as the Lions. When you have DK Metcalf, you win at least as much as the Lions.
Fair. But anyway, but they're not a good team.
No, for sure. But I don't know that the Broncos are either.
Well, they're going to be a lot better when Russell Wilson. Not Russell West. Russell Westbrook he ain't making nobody better. He ain't.
No, he isn't. He ain't making a damn thing better.
Even talking in the media doesn't make things better for him. He asks people to stop calling him Westbrook.
He is Westbrook. I don't know what to tell him.
Exactly. No, people are gonna. Yeah, exactly.
Hilarious. Then don't go to the Lakers, dumbass. Like literally, because I'm like, no one cared that he sucked on any other team until he went to the Lakers. So.
Well, I mean, he didn't get traded there. Like he didn't trade himself there. That's true.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, I think kind of to wrap up at least the Seahawks and the Broncos is I overall, the way that I view it is that this is an absolute win for the Seahawks because they didn't really have much going for them anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Broncos, it makes them better.
Yeah.
It makes them more competitive,
The pressure's
but it
on
does
now, though. Pressure's
not
on.
make them Super Bowl ready by any stretch of the imagination. They're going to have to get a shitload better. Like, yeah, you just got Russ. That's great. But you're going to need to either have some of the smartest drafting you've ever had or some of the best free agent signings you've ever had this season if you want to start being competitive right away. Because I just do not see them getting past the Rams, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Bills. I mean, it's a very tough hill for them to climb to get over those teams. So, I mean, we'll
Right.
see. I guess it's not impossible. Like you said, they're technically a destination, but I mean, shit, you could say the same thing about the Chargers. The
Mm-hmm.
Chargers have a shitload of money. They have a way younger quarterback who looks like he's going to be a great. I mean, he's starting to look like, he's going to be able to go toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes at some point, and he just needs to get the right folks around
Well,
him, and he could easily be big. So, I mean, yeah, Russ has the big name, but at the same time, within that same division, the Chargers, to me, is the more attractive team.
right. Well, and again, another thing too. We didn't even see this, like, or like we didn't even talk about this. Like the Broncos, like, they got a new coach this offseason. Like we forget they hired a
Nice.
new coach,
That's right.
Nathaniel Hackett, the former quarterback coach for Aaron Rodgers. So
Sick.
we don't even know who this guy is. You know what I mean? Like
No.
we don't even know what he can do. So new head coach, new quarterback, new everything. So
It's new everything, which
Uh-huh.
can always mean either it's going to go surprisingly good and we're all proven, wrong for being skeptical, or it's going to be so bad that no one expected it to be quite what it was. It's just, I don't know. I see it going kind of a weird way. I don't have a great feeling about it if I'm Denver, but I do feel decent about it for the Seahawks. But either way, it's somewhat inconsequential for me as a fan because I liked seeing Russell in Seattle, and I don't think I'm going to care to watch him with Denver, especially. I think I'm just biased because I like the Raiders, so fuck the
Right.
Broncos, but it is what it is. Obviously as a Raider fan, it does worry me on some level because the Raiders are very good at getting worse and not very good at getting better. And so anytime a divisional opponent makes moves and gets significantly better, it's obviously a concern. So obviously not super hyped about that. But
Right.
the thing that does suck, though, is that more quarterbacks continue to fall off the table for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the closer and closer I get to Blaine Gabbert and the closer I get to
Hey.
throwing myself off a
Hey.
balcony.
Hey,
Don't you fucking bring
Don't
up Jimmy Garoppolo, you
don't
stupid
say-
piece of shit.
don't say that, dude. Because you got Jimmy Garoppolo waiting on the table. He's right
So the
there.
Green Bay Packers decided.
You know what's happening, right? You know they're getting Jimmy Garoppolo, right?
You know what the fucked up part is about that, though? It's like this. Like, if that truly were to happen,
I've been calling
At
this shit
this-
since day one, by the way. I just want to know
at
that.
this point, I would be happy with that if my only option is Jimmy G or Blaine Gabbert. If I have to choose between those two, I mean, I'm taking Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
100%.
just gonna definitely fucking take him.
Right.
Is that what I want? Not really, but what I want is for Tom Brady to stop being a dick and come out of retirement and fucking give us one more championship, like he absolutely can. But seeing as how that very well probably isn't going to happen, then yeah, Jimmy G would be the best. If we can't also get maybe Deshaun Watson or whatever, which actually we're gonna find out potentially this week some more about his future and if he is in fact guilty of the things that he did, or at least we're going to find out some more about it or whatever. I think some of the accusers are going to court and stuff like that. So that situation continues to evolve and we'll see if he'll ever play again, stuff like that. But as far as the Packers are concerned,
Yeah.
they decided to spend the most money ever on a quarterback's contract for the amount of time that he's
Yeah.
being given.
Here-
He's getting $200 million
So
for I think what is it, 3 years with a fourth option?
it's like I think so. I know.
3 with a fourth.
Yeah, so I know Aaron Rodgers said something saying that there's no contract that's been signed or any.
He's
terms
so
that have been-
full of shit. I'm so
but-
sick of him.
But here's the thing, like that they're bringing him in like that, like there's a reason why I said something. Like it's like, hey, yep, I am coming back, but don't know the contract yet. This is the contract.
This is literally the contract.
For us, this is the contract. There might be things that you guys on your end might need to figure out, but this is the contract. Like,
no, what it literally is that this dumb cunt probably hasn't fucking signed the paper, and he's like, well, technically, and I got to tell you, Sean, I don't know if there's a guy in football right now that I hate more than Aaron Rodgers because he's so fucking annoying.
Yeah,
he makes me absolutely love Kyrie Irving.
Listen,
because everyone talks about how annoying Kyrie is. I'm like, to be honest with you, Kyrie seems like an awesome dude that I would love to be a fan of and wear the jersey of in comparison to this fucking idiot. I'm so tired of this absolute egomaniac dope.
He put the Green Bay Packers through the ringer for the past 2.5 years, saying, like all the reports saying, I don't want to be here. You guys,
which is
like, and then like all of a sudden, it's like, Aaron, if we were to offer you the most money in NFL history, would you stay?
And he's like, yeah, of course. It's always about the money.
No, never. And it's like, hey, Aaron, do you want to have the most money in NFL history? No. We'll even bring back Devontae Adams. You will? Yeah.
We already gave you Randall Cobb or whatever dumb husk.
Can I win MVP again? Yeah. Can I pick what I have for lunch on Wednesdays? Yeah. All right, I'll stay. It's like that kid where it's like you got to bribe him to like go to the dentist office. You know what I mean? Except you got to bribe him to come back. But first of all, let's be honest. From a football fit standpoint, there wasn't going to be a team in the league that Aaron was going to go, oh, I'll just go there. Like, there was, correct. If he went to Denver, the grass was
maybe
not
the
greener.
49ers.
Yeah, like if exactly.
49ers was the only team that was a good fit.
But even then, like none of those teams have Devontae. Like it was never a situation where I felt like, okay, if Aaron Rodgers leaves, this is inherently the right move because every single situation, like no situation.
So. Except for the 49ers.
Right. But again,
there's a whole bundle of shit going on there. But the way that I looked at it was like this is the only thing I agree on with Aaron Rodgers is that he is right to criticize the Packers because this is the dumbest organization in football.
Oh, they're stupid. Yeah. They have Aaron Rodgers.
I don't
understand.
In
the building, and you only win one Super Bowl with both.
They have had only 2 quarterbacks in a 35-year span, and they have 2 championships to show for it. That's fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have that much consistency and 2 Hall of Famers and not win more than 2 Super Bowls? That's fucking embarrassing.
Especially when the trophy's named after your fucking coach.
Literally. And the fact of it is, too, is like there were so many games that they should have won. Like, how do you not beat the 49ers last year? That's just fucking insane.
Right.
How did they not beat the Buccaneers 2 years ago? Like, what the fuck? It's insane. Like,
but Aaron Rodgers is part of that, though.
He's 100. Yeah. That's just it. I'm like, Aaron Rodgers is literally responsible for almost all of these losses. When you watch him, he doesn't perform, and it's kind of his fault at this fucking point. So, but the biggest point and what you alluded to was the fact of like, you moved up to draft Jordan Love, who nobody was high on.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. And I don't know if it was them trying to like light a fire under Aaron Rodgers, but he was literally the last quarterback that needed motivation. Like, what the fuck?
Well, like the only reason
I'm so confused.
Well, the only reason why, for one, they have to do the Packers thing of we have to prepare for our future. We don't know how much longer Aaron's going to be here, like all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, that's great. But if again, now that pick's a waste because you're paying this guy 4 years, $200 million, like another 4 years, which by the way, by that point, Jordan Love will have been in the league, 6-7 years by then?
Yes.
Like half of his career.
But we knew that Jordan Love was not going to be a good quarterback day he was drafted.
We knew. Yeah.
Which is the thing is it's like, so you draft a guy that everyone knew immediately.
Well, people didn't like the Aaron Rodgers drafting for Green Bay back when they did that either. They're like, well, you
For
have Brett Favre in the
sure.
building. It's the same. Like, so, like in their head, that's their thing. I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying,
Right.
I'm just being
I
the
feel
devil's
like
advocate,
this
putting that one thing in there.
for sure, and that is true. But I do feel like in some ways this might be even worse. Because Jordan Love, I just feel like it was pretty immediately obvious. Like, yeah, this guy's not going to be it, dog.
Well,
Like, this is just not it.
the thing that made it worse was when Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show, literally 5 minutes before the pick, saying,
Dude,
"We haven't gotten a skill position guy in a number of years, so that'd be pretty cool." So when
I think in his entire career.
yeah, like, well, like they hadn't drafted like a skill position in the first round. It's not his whole career. It's been like over a decade. It's an
It's
insane. It's
unacceptable,
yeah.
to be honest.
Well, I mean, like, so like for him to go that, and it's like, oh nope, we're gonna select Jordan Love. We're gonna select your replacement with that pick. It's like, okay, what? Of course you're opening that door for this kind of thing to happen. But now first of all, it is a win for the Packers that he is gonna be in the building still. Now,
Sure.
here, I feel pretty comfortable saying this. I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl for the rest of Aaron Rodgers' career.
Correct.
I think to expect this team to contend for a Super Bowl after everything we've seen, with this team fumbling essentially what we thought was a free trip for them 2 years in a row, just with how how talented their team was, how good Aaron was, the fact that like the last 2 years Aaron Rodgers like threw more interceptions than they had losses in the regular season, and like he only had like 5 interceptions. So like in this situation, it's like, okay, literally you guys are supposed to be here every year, and yet you never get it done. So what makes me actually believe that this time, now that we're going to run it back again, that
if
this
there was
is going to be the time? Like, now we can get it done. It's like, no,
if there was ever a year for it to be a cakewalk, it was literally this season.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Especially when Tom Brady got eliminated. And when you had the 49ers at home in Lambeau.
Unbelievable.
Which, by the way, historically, they're not really good at Lambeau in the playoffs.
Which is really funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I first of all, I need to immediately correct myself on something. I kept mentioning the Rams when talking about the Broncos. That's irrelevant because the Rams are in the NFC. I'm a fucking idiot. I get the AFC and the NFC teams mixed up so often because it is almost impossible to remember which division or conference every fucking team is in.
Well, because like in other sports, at least they do like the Eastern and the Western. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. So it's so hard.
That makes like somewhat sense because you can go like, oh, well, this team's on the East, but like in the NFL, it's like, this team in the Midwest is NFC. The team further out east is AFC. The team out west is AFC. The team there's no correlation. It's just bullshit.
Sean, thank you for backing me up on that.
Well, the AFC and the NFC is fucking dumb. It's really
dumb.
It is.
Thank you. Because literally in hockey, in football, and everything, it makes sense, and it makes no sense in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's so hard to keep track
of. Yeah.
But whatever. The point is that I was going to bring up the thing for Aaron Rodgers that I never understood, especially when the Broncos stuff was really heating up, is I'm like, okay, Aaron Rodgers struggles against any form of good competition, particularly in the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want him to go to the AFC where he has to go through Patrick Mahomes, or the Bills, or the Chargers.
Yeah, I think at least for the Broncos, if there's anything that they can say, like even if they didn't get Aaron Rodgers, which on paper is the better quarterback than Russell Wilson.
Sure.
What they did get is the more clutch quarterback.
Right.
The far more clutch quarterback, which Aaron Rodgers, I mean, like in the regular season, like he even has some moments in the playoffs where it's like, okay, how the fuck did he make this throw? How in the world did he make this play? But also, I know deep in the playoffs, I'm not scared of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not, because he hasn't given me reason to be. So, I just
immediately was just thinking, sorry, I just immediately thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, you literally had a cakewalk to a first round bye in the playoffs, and you likely do in perpetuity. because the Packers are pretty much always going to win their conference, at least as they're currently set up.
Well,
They're just
at
the
the very
easiest
least,
way to do
yeah.
that.
Well, in their division for sure. It's like, oh,
Right.
we have to face the Vikings, the
That's
Bears, the
literally an
Lions. Yeah,
automatic win.
exactly. It's like,
Yes.
yep, we're gonna be in the playoffs.
Right. So I'm like, why would you leave that
Yeah.
to potentially go to, let's say, the Broncos, for instance, and you have to face, again, the Chiefs, who are amazing, the Chargers, who are on their way to amazing, and the Raiders, who technically were better than the Chargers and beat them in a playoff game and only ended up losing to Joe Burrow and the Bengals, who went to the Super Bowl. So it's like there was nothing in that made any sense.
Right.
I did see a lot for the 49ers in the sense that I'm like, well, he has sort of that Hollywood personality. He seems like the type of guy that would want to be out there. You know, at the
Yeah.
time he
Well,
was
not only
dating
that,
a Hollywood actress, which he does frequently.
well, I
And
think the
it's a
main
setup.
thing, I think the main
Yeah,
thing was he grew up a 49ers fan. He's from
right.
California. Like that was his team. So like to me, it's like that made sense.
So
However,
did everybody in the 80s. Let's just be honest.
yeah, exactly. But you know,
Joe
again,
Montana, what are you going to do?
yeah, exactly. But you know, again, it is just the thing of, you know, now to me, it is the first of all, like this move and the Russell Wilson move, they share something in common with each other. Like I think they both, if you're in a situation where you can get Russell Wilson, or if you're in a situation where you can keep Aaron Rodgers, you're dumb not to do it. Like I think the Broncos, like they were in a situation where they could get Russell Wilson, even though they traded as much as they did, they were dumb not to do it. In the fact that you're getting the best player, your entire outlook at that position is completely different today than it was yesterday, right?
Correct.
But and the same thing with the Packers. You're stupid to not keep Aaron Rodgers for another 4 years if you can. You know what I mean? However,
100%.
Again, they both have attached to it the, all right, time to prove it. This is
100%.
This is why this was the move that you had to make. Like now with Aaron Rodgers, it's like, okay, you have been the MVP 2 years in a row. You have always said that this team didn't get you the talent, that you were going to leave when you wanted to, and now you're deciding that this is the place that you want to be and that this is where you want to stay. Well, now that's great. Now that's got to infer that they're giving you what you need, right? So
Right.
Now, if I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers, it's like, okay, you really want to be talked about as one of the all-time great quarterbacks? You got to get more than one Super Bowl.
Dude, absolutely. I think that there's significantly more pressure on the Packers than there is on the Broncos, because I think the Broncos just made a really good move that should make them much more competitive. But the Packers, by doing this, like you said, they are basically signing off on, we are dedicated to getting you the pieces that you need. Now they franchise tag Devontae Adams. Now they're also going to have to make some other moves. I'm sure that they probably would have liked if Chris Godwin was available. Right. They probably would have tried to go for something like that. Definitely. And I'm sure that there will be other guys available. Kelvin Ridley will not be one of them. But they definitely are going to need to go out and get some other weapons for Aaron Rodgers, and they've got only really a handful of years to do so. I think that the Packers will definitely have a shot at making it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Especially it depends on a few things. Number one, the NFC doesn't have a whole lot in it, right? Your two biggest obstacles, essentially. Now, the Bengals, I mean,
well,
the
Bengals are AFC. Bengals are AFC. Bengals are AFC.
AFC. My bad. So you got the Buccaneers, who don't have a quarterback right now. I think likely we're going to end up with probably Teddy Bridgewater.
You have the Super Bowl defending. You have the Super Bowl defending champion Rams, who, you know,
right?
They might not be able to keep all of their pieces together. However, the pieces,
I think they'll keep most.
They'll be able to keep a good amount of it. I would imagine. I would wager if Odell is able to be on the field next year. I mean, because he did tear his ACL.
Right.
If he's able to be on the field next year, I would wager he'd want to be a Ram.
Definitely.
Yeah. Aaron Donald is back. Sean McVay is back. Matt Stafford's back. It's really all. Yeah, Cooper Kupp. That's really all that matters. As if you have Sean McVay, Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford, they're a true contender. You know what I mean?
Probably gonna go pretty far. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and especially depending on what happens to the Bucs. Now, if Tom Brady comes out of retirement and is like, "Let's fucking go, boys," well, then they're gonna be in some real trouble. But I don't see that happening. I
Yeah.
think that there's a extremely real possibility that we end up with Teddy Bridgewater, mostly because
Yeah, I
that
could see
was the
Ted Bridgewater.
quarterback. Well, that was the guy that we wanted before Tom Brady was an option. It was one of those things where it's like, okay, you just lost Jameis Winston. You kind of are in a spot where it's like, well, now what the fuck do we do?
Right.
And they like Teddy Bridgewater. I personally think
He
that's an okay option. It's better
he
than Blaine
yeah.
Gabbert.
You know what? Jimmy Garoppolo is available. Well, here's the thing. First of all, I actually
He
do.
is better than
I
Teddy Bridgewater.
well, here's the thing. Like I've been saying this joke for a while. I really do think Jimmy Garoppolo in Tampa makes a lot of sense. Just in the sense that like you really just need a guy that's going to go in there and not fuck it up on a regular basis. And like the thing about Jimmy
Yes.
Garoppolo is even if in the playoffs, even if at times we see him fall apart and he's not the best quarterback out on the field, what we do see with Jimmy Garoppolo is over a period of time, he really doesn't turn over the ball very much, and
Right.
he's a good game manager. So like,
And he almost went to the Super Bowl if
yeah.
the Rams had fucked up a little more than they did.
So there's almost a
The
little
Rams almost choked
yeah.
that.
So there's almost a little bit of a case to make that like if you're the Buccaneers, you look at bringing in a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, and it's like, all right, even though we're a lot more strapped at the quarterback position now than we were,
Sure.
what we do have, first of all, we can play a very similar style of ball to the 49ers, where we could try to run the ball, but also just get the ball in your playmakers' hands. Like just get the ball to Chris Godwin in the open field. Like that's what you need to do. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, one of the biggest things about Tom Brady is he's a stabilizing force. He's not like this quarterback that goes out and does like a lot of insanely flashy stuff. He just keeps everybody staying the course,
Right.
and he's a very stabilizing
Well,
force. And I think Jimmy G could be something like
well,
that.
that's
We
what
are
he
going to be
is.
missing
Yeah.
the running back. That's going to be huge. We
Mm-hmm.
need to re-sign Leonard Fournette, or we're going to have to figure something else out if
Mm-hmm.
ends up leaving. Also, there could be a huge gap if we lose Gronk, because not only is Gronk
You're
good
losing
as a
Gronk.
tight end,
He's retired.
for sure, but like the thing is that's going to be a really tough position to replace, not only
Yeah.
because of him as a playmaker, but like
As
when
a
you
as
look
a
at
as a
him
as
as
a
a
blocker too.
defensive, yes, like his blocking, especially with our offensive line, if it gets hurt,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, that ended up being a real problem against the Rams, having the injured Vita Vea. But
He's huge in
yeah,
run
losing him
protection.
is that's gonna be
Huge in run
huge.
protection.
So we're definitely going to be losing a lot of things going on there. Like Leonard
Right.
Fournette ended up being a really big part of the offense.
Oh yeah, yeah. You remember when he was
And
brought
having
in? It
Gronk
was
there,
like he was brought in almost as like a luxury in a way,
yeah, pretty much.
and then he came in and like that Super Bowl against the Chiefs just went ape shit and was just
Yeah.
running it all up and down their throats. And now, like
And Ronald Jones is a decent back, but I just don't know that that's our man that's going to
right,
replace Leonard Fournette. I think
yeah,
he was good in the role that he served. I just don't know that he can be an every down type of back. So
right,
losing him could be really, really big. That basically gets rid of our whole run game, because one of our best blockers in Rob Gronkowski, along with losing Fournette, is really kind of a shitty thing to lose.
yeah.
Thank God we
It's not great.
franchise tagged Chris Godwin, because at least then we have a couple wide receivers. But yeah, at losing Tom Brady, probably losing Gronk, probably losing Fournette, there's going to be a lot of pieces that are going to be really rough. Inserting Garoppolo can certainly make things a little better. But it's it's not what you want, as
Yeah,
they say.
yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I don't know. I think that the Packers have an extremely good shot at going to the Super Bowl. I think that the Rams are obviously probably the team to beat, especially since everyone seems to be coming back for the most part. But other than that, it's kind of like the Bucks are certainly probably going to get worse, and the 49ers, depending on what they decide to do, they certainly could stay the same, if not be worse. And if the Packers can get any better, then hopefully that gets them over the hump against someone like the
Right,
49ers.
right.
But yeah, it is definitely a prove it time for them as a
Yeah,
franchise. They've been in kind of a really weird spot.
you don't
But
sign that contract unless you believe you could win a Super Bowl within that time.
100%.
And for the Packers, you're not signing that contract unless you need him to win a Super Bowl. in that time. And
100%.
and I think it would just be a really bad look for Aaron and the franchise of the Packers alike if he was able to win it in like what, 2010, 2011,
I think so.
2009,
Yeah, something like that.
2009, 2010, and then now
It was a little later than that, probably 2011, 2012, something like that.
yeah, and now it being 2022, it's been over a decade of Aaron Rodgers being in Green Bay. Like now it's like, okay, well, if he retires with only one ring, what was that entire era of Packers football? It was 2010.
Yeah.
It was 2010. So it's
Was
been
it 2010? Okay.
it's already we're coming up on year 12.
Yeesh.
Since he's won a Super Bowl.
Yeesh. I genuinely do think that they will make it to the Super Bowl within the next 2 years. I don't know if it'll be this year, but I certainly think if not this year, then certainly next year. I do think the Packers make the Super Bowl. The problem will be, can they win that game?
Right.
Because the NFC, like we just said, I think the NFC is going to get a little worse. And we've seen that it can be very, very tough for the Super Bowl champion team to sort of, reclaim that and whatever, especially sometimes if, it is guys like Aaron Donald or whoever that their whole point was trying to get that first ring, right? And now that they have it, they're kind of comfortable.
Yeah.
And so they don't, even if it's not on purpose, they don't have that same hunger and that same drive, no matter what they try to say or do or whatever. They just don't. So there is that thing that could make the Rams a little less hungry and a little less lethal than what they were.
Well, there's also the health thing too. Like it's just
exactly. You never know what's going to happen.
Part of a Super Bowl run is that those guys stayed healthy. And so if we don't know what's going to happen there, Donald. We don't know if Cooper Kupp will be able to have another season where he's going to be able to go out and have all those games, or he's going to be on the field, and he's going to be breaking records, and he's going to just stay. So, it's, again, we saw with the Rams, we saw health was almost their undoing. I mean, they had to bring in guys out of retirement to play safety. They had in the call their defense. They, they have key pieces like their left tackle, the guy who was like the oldest player in the NFL. Played one last Super Bowl against his former team. Now is retiring. Guys like that aren't going to be in the locker room now. So if the Rams are going to want to do it again, they're going to have to find some magic, and they're going to have to find some magic early. And they're going to have to keep that going, and they're going to have to stay healthy. But I mean, yeah. But
so I think that the Rams very well could get worse in a way.
Yeah.
I think the Buccaneers at best, at this point, it seems like they could maybe make a trade for Garoppolo, which that's the other part, by the way. Garoppolo's not a free agent. So I don't know how the fuck he's going to become a Buccaneer, because I don't know what the hell we would even want to trade for someone like him. So that's kind of the other thing.
Right.
Let's just pretend we get him. I don't know that makes us necessarily ready to go and beat the Packers to try to make it to the Super Bowl. The other thing is that then the 49ers are really in a spot because their young quarterback has yet to even play more than maybe a few quarters.
Right.
I don't even think he's played a full game. So it's like,
yeah. Well, again, again, it's just a thing. Free agency hasn't happened yet. The draft hasn't happened yet. For sure. We'll have a much better idea of what these teams are like even a month and a half from now than we will today. You know what I mean? So I think, again, I think there's a lot of reason. I mean, if I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, I'm feeling a lot of relief. But again,
oh yes, but again, especially as we just laid out, every team in front of you might be getting worse in the NFC, so you should have a gravy train to the Super Bowl. You gotta fucking win it this year, basically. Yeah, I mean, for fuck's sake.
Well, and I still don't think they have a gravy train. But the past couple years, they sure as hell have had a gravy train.
I feel like each year it's gotten easier.
It feels like it has. Definitely feels
and I really feel like this upcoming year, it only gets easier. Tom Brady is now no longer a problem.
Well, Tom Brady's no longer a problem. But again, the NFC is just it. The problem is the pillars in the NFC we've just seen go away over the course of the past few years. Because those pillars were Drew Brees.
Right.
He's retired. Russell Wilson. He just got traded to the AFC. Aaron Rodgers. Well, I mean, he's on their team. Right. And then what other pillars are there? Because it's kind of like the Eagles are good when they're good for a year and then they suck.
Right.
And then the Cowboys are always a hit or miss. The NFC East, the entirety of of that freaking, division is just a
Oh,
complete
it's all
crapshoot.
garbage.
The NFC South, I mean, you have the Buccaneers, but like outside of that, the division's garbage.
It really is now.
Really, like, it's kind of, it is kind of like a thing where every team is in rebuild mode. I mean, obviously you go out west, it's a little different.
Right.
You still got the Cardinals out there. You still got, you still have the 49ers out there. You still have quite a few teams out there. So, again, it's not a free road.
Although the Cardinals look pretty bad.
They do. They did not look good in the playoffs. But I mean, Kyler Murray, he's still out there, as
Sure.
long as he's kicking, even if he wants a ton of money. Which,
Yeah, and the team seems kind of non-committal on him. That whole situation seems a little bit odd.
yeah. Hey, we could be talking about Kyler Murray getting traded to a team this time next year. We could be having we could be talking about bread placement all over again.
He could go to Seattle and replace Russell Wilson.
He could. But no, he can't. Drew Lock is there. Silly goose.
Fucking Christ. No, I really think that the Packers, with the exception of the Rams, basically have a gravy train. And of course, without the 49ers somehow getting some amazing quarterback in place.
But again,
I feel like they should have every reason to go to the Super Bowl. It's just going to be that the AFC, no matter who makes it in the AFC, basically, whatever team comes out of that is going to be 10 times better than what the Packers are.
But again, this is all on paper. You know what I'm saying? Because,
for sure.
Because it's the thing of, this is all on paper, because every single year the Packers are a favorite to go to the Super Bowl. Want to know why? Because they have Aaron Rodgers, because they have the roster that they have. However, again, it comes down to an actuality. So will they get it done? If they don't now, it's only going to get worse for them. It is only going to get worse.
Indeed. So moving on to a very brief Raider report. I do want to bring up the fact that
I think we just did a Raider report. It was an hour and a half about how fucked they are.
What?
Like we just talked about. Like,
I'll say this about the Raiders. The Raiders have a lot going on. New general manager, new coach, a lot of free agency stuff to happen. Still need to figure out exactly what they're doing at the quarterback position. Now, from what I have been hearing a lot, it seems like they're going to stick with Derek Carr and they're going to extend him, and that's just it. It's just going to be Derek Carr. A lot of people kept suggesting that a trade or this or that or whatever, but my thing is like, what the fuck are they going to do then? Then they're just in a full-fledged rebuild, and I don't think that that's what they want to do. I don't think they want to go full rebuild.
Right.
Now, we must also consider this, Sean. The Super Bowl champion 2 years ago was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Super Bowl was in Tampa Bay. The Super Bowl this past year was the Rams winning in LA, where the Super Bowl was held. This upcoming Super Bowl, I think it's this upcoming one, or maybe it's the one after. I think it's the next one.
Is in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Is in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sean, do you know what this means?
It means that you're going to be really disappointed
Raiders
when they don't make
are going to win, baby. Let's go.
So, no.
I know.
I don't even know.
Sad...
I don't even know. Like, listen, I don't even know what players are on what teams then. I don't even know if they're still we can't say for certain that by then they are still going to be playing tackle football. And I still feel pretty certain that the Raiders are not going to the Super Bowl when they're going to be hosting it, and that they're not even going to be fucking
literally
close.
This season.
Oh, well, yeah, no, they're not.
That's what I'm saying. No, I was saying because the last two Super Bowls, the
so this
location where it was held. That's what I'm saying. So since it's in Vegas, they have to win.
That's the report.
The NFL has rigged the whole sport because they wanted to have home teams winning Super Bowls because they were sick of it.
And part of them rigging the sport was to bring in one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league in their division to make their road to even just a playoff go through Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert,
and now Russell Wilson.
And now Russell Wilson. that you
I
have,
think that's
which
just to add to the legend, to
the
the
to the
legacy
this is just to make the
of
story more
Derek
epic.
Carr and the Raiders.
This
Yes,
is
because you see, this is a very Raiders ass story.
this is part of the manga. This is like the origin story, and
That's
we're
right.
about to
This
like
is
see
part of
them.
the
Yeah.
lore
Mm-hmm.
because you see, the Raiders are the type of franchise
Mm-hmm.
where they have every single thing going against them. And yet,
Against them, my God.
that's my NHL coming out. The problem, the problem here is, you see, Al Davis was at war with the NFL, and he was actively suing them. He was mad. He wanted to go to LA. It was a complete nightmare, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his Raiders scratched into the wild card round. And those wild card Raiders went and won the Super Bowl. They were the first team ever to win the Super Bowl as a wild card team. I just feel like this is another little notch in Raider history. This is another thing for the silver and black to forever hold over every other franchise's head.
I mean, they really don't have many other things to hold over other franchises' heads. So
I would like to correct you on an entirely silver and black episode, but we are not doing that right now because the Raiders have an unbelievable legacy on the NFL, but that's fine.
that's great. What have you done for me lately?
Drafted a kicker in the first round once, and he ended up being the greatest kicker of all time. Does that count?
No, it really
Well,
doesn't.
then suck my dick. Listen, so so anyways, I think that covers pretty well what has been going on with the NFL. But Sean, I do have some questions about our beloved Detroit Pistons.
Let's fire away, man. No better way to close the episode than
that is
yeah.
That is right. Now, of course, the season just began, and what a season it has been.
Yeah.
And I will say, my plan has been working flawlessly ever since I made this like nonsense, meaningless declaration of being a Heat fan, which is meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
The great thing is that somehow has made the Pistons must-watch TV. They've been amazing. They've won 3 games in a row. They've been fantastic in every way. And I'm like, it worked. I just have to pretend that they're not my team, and then they will succeed. So I am a Pistons fan, but I'm pretending that I'm not, because that is the only way for them to succeed. If I'm a fan of a team, then they will fall into a pit of despair. So I am taking one for the team, and I am pretending to not be with the pit. You understand how the psychology works. It's working.
But the problem with the psychology is isn't it when you admit that that's what you're doing and you verbalize your entire plan and you talk about how you're taking one for the team, so ultimately that they're playing good basketball, being really watchable and being fun again, that's going to be the ultimate undoing. And when they're no longer good and not playing basketball and not winning games, we can point back to the fact that Robert was just pretending to not and then we can.
I will say this: the Pistons. I thought about that, but last week I said the same thing, and now they've won 3 in a row. So evidently, the curse does not work that way. And I've been trying to wear my Heat stuff somewhat often to keep the facade going, so that when the basketball gods wake up in the morning and they look down, and they go, "Oh, hey, look, it's that asshole who we judged the season on." And they go, "What's he wearing?" And they go, "Oh, that's the Heat logo. All right, fuck the Heat this week."
Look, it's that asshole that was trying to tell us whether or not we were successful.
Actually, what's funny is I've actually been wearing a decent amount of Chicago Bulls stuff, and I feel like they've kind of hit the skids.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the football or the basketball gods have been looking through their looking glass, and they're going, "Hey, look at that dumb asshole. He likes the Bulls. Let's ruin them."
You must have the Tim the Tapman curse. You must.
I definitely do.
Yeah, you got to have that, because they now Pistons.
You must tell me about. I was going to Google it and I didn't because I've been busy and I forgot. Is Isaiah Stewart okay?
So the short answer is we don't know yet. I would imagine he's going to be getting scans done. Now, the injury itself didn't look great. He didn't put any weight on it when he was walking out of the locker room. To answer your question, just got this back. Did some research.
Breaking news.
Pistons Isaiah Stewart to miss at least 1 week with a bone bruise. So it's only a bone bruise.
That's not bad.
I'm not gonna front. When I saw it, I thought he tore his ACL. So
Right.
I am pretty glad that it is only a bone, because that was the thing. Like it
That's
never
not bad.
we didn't really like see it snap or anything. Like
Right.
we saw Clint Capella kind of just like roll on that knee, like, you know. So like I was preparing in my head to not see him for the rest of the way. I was prepared to not see him for the rest of the season because there's only a month left.
Right.
However, apparently he might only miss a week, which is pretty good for us because we need him. So
I'm good with that.
Uh-huh.
I today placed a few bets on FanDuel Sportsbook.
Did you?
Did.
Mhm.
I placed some futures. Now I've been placing them every so often. The more confident that I get, I continue to place bets on Cade Cunningham being the rookie of the year.
Yeah, you should keep putting those bets in because he is the real deal, man. And
if that hits, then I will not make like a huge sum of money, but I will make a decent amount of money. I also put in a few bets. I put in for Ja Morant to be the MVP and also DeMar DeRozan for MVP because I think either of those guys deserves it more than anyone else in the league. I also put in for the Memphis Grizzlies to be your NBA champions.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your gourd. You are straight out of your mind.
Which I did because I thought this. I thought, okay, what team with bad odds that would give me the most amount of money has the best chance at doing this?
Oh, you're right.
And it's them.
Yeah, it's them.
Which is why I did it, because if I put $5 on like the Golden State Warriors, I would get like $3 in returns for them winning because they're probably going to win. Right. But if I did it on the Grizzlies, I put like $5 and I think it returns, I don't even remember, it was like maybe $100 or more, something like that. And I was like, you know what, that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Right. Yeah, that is pretty good. You know what?
So go Grizzlies.
Hey, go Grizzlies. I mean, go Grizzlies indeed. I do like the Grizzlies, but
I do too. Well, I don't like the Grizzlies. I like Ja Morant.
Well, yeah, I've liked the Grizzlies. I like Memphis. I like the Memphis hustle. I like the grind city. Like I like everything about them. I liked even when they had Zach Randolph and Mike Conley back in the day when they had Mark Gasol and at one point Pau Gasol.
They need to change the uniforms though, for real.
Oh, the uniforms are bad. 100%. I agree with that.
So bad.
Yeah, they are bad.
And what's up with the weird WNBA style where the name is sometimes under the number? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Stop it. Enough. Enough. I have had it. It is just, oh my God. Anyways, but the Detroit Pistons, they've been very good. They've won a few games in a row, which is fun. They've beaten halfway decent opponents, which has also been extra fun.
Yeah, they've beaten really good opponents. They're 6-2 in their last 8 over that stretch. A lot of that's been because of the play of obviously Cade Cunningham, but also
Jeremy Grant and of course Sadiq Bey.
Yeah. So in Cade Cunningham since the All-Star break over the past 8 games, they're 6-2 during this stretch. Cade is averaging 21 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and he's shooting like 45% from the field. So he's efficient. He's he's consistently getting about 20 a game, still getting rebounds. He's assisting. He's doing everything you need him to do. I mean, yeah, Cade Cunningham's growing up in front of our eyes, because now he's helping win games. Which this is what happens with a young team. You start out the year cold. You're not shooting the greatest. You're not winning games. You're getting your ass kicked. And then as the season goes on, you slowly, as you get guys healthy, as you figure out how to play together, as you're developing because you're playing NBA competition every night, you hope to see that team start to turn the corner a little bit towards the end of the year, start to show start to show some development, start to show some pieces of their identity and what they want to do going forward, which is exactly what the Pistons are doing right now. So, everyone that was freaking out because, Sadiq, there were people at the very beginning of the season that said Sadiq Bey needed to be in the G League.
There was people saying that Cade Cunningham sucked and that we should be concerned. I didn't quite go that far, but I was scared very quickly because I think most, if not all, of Pistons fans in general, and especially people like you, I got to give props to you for being a calm, cool, collected Pistons fan, because I think most old school or at least long time Pistons fans have had almost nothing positive happen to them for about 20 years.
Right.
So to stay that calm, cool, and collected is pretty admirable. But the thing is like, you also couldn't blame those fans because it's like all you've wanted is something good.
You can't,
and so you just wanted to see a LeBron, show up.
You can't blame your fans because you want, like you said, it's been so rough. You want to see him come out and do good. But here's the thing: if you watch this guy play a lick of college basketball, if you watched him leading up to the pros, you knew he was going to be good. You knew he wasn't going to be a bust. You knew the skills and everything that he brought into the league. Every single thing that he does translates. All of it does. All it needed. I will say, like, the first couple games when he wasn't shooting the greatest, I was calm, I was collected, but even in my gut, you go, oh my God, is this Darko 2.0? You know what I mean? Like, everybody pictures the most extreme scenario whenever something's going on. However, first of all, time is an amazing thing. Having time around Jeremy Grant, having time around Sadiq Bey, having time to actually get on the court, be healthy, and actually improve over the course of these games. Because a lot of people forget, first of all, first month of the season was just getting his feet under him. Because he didn't even have training camp. He was out for a month. He practiced a little bit. Yeah, it's one thing to be practicing. It's a whole other thing to be in NBA shape. So he had to come back. He had to get in full NBA shape. Then he misses like a couple games by the time he starts playing well. He comes back, same thing, kind of gets his bearings after coming back from injury. And then we start seeing these good Cade Cunningham games start to pop up again, right? Then he gets the hip pointer injury and he misses 5 games, 6 games, something like that. And then comes back again. And now the difference is he was able to rest during the All-Star break. He was able to recuperate. And now we're seeing a Cade Cunningham who's just getting better every single game. And the game looks like it's a lot slower for him now too. And with that, his confidence, he's attacking the rim. He's getting to the free throw line. He's getting his other teammates involved. Like he's doing everything that you want him to do. And we're defending well as a team too. Trae Young, we played the Hawks as of this recording. We played the Hawks last night. Trae Young only scored 14 points. The entire game. We went to overtime too. Very impressive. Shot 5 of 20 from the field.
Yeah.
A lot of that's defense. So there's just been a lot of good things to be excited about. And
it's easily the best that our core has looked like in a long time. It is the best that this young core has looked in a very long time.
This is our first 3-game win streak since March of 2019.
Jesus Christ.
That is the last time we've won 3 games in a row. And now it's being done again, but it's being led by the youth. And that's exactly what you want to see in Detroit. That is exactly what you want to see. So now you go into this, you keep playing games like this. You keep having performances where you try and get better. You see where your pick ultimately lies in the lottery, which if they're going to keep playing like this, might not be in the top 3. But if it's not in the top 3, that's fine.
They'll live.
Because it's clear that these guys are getting better. And the other thing too is again, it's just the thing of they're Jeremy and Cade and Sadiq are actually on the court together healthy. And now that they are, they're winning Detroit basketball games. It's almost like that vision was there the entire time that those guys could all play together and be pretty good.
Yeah.
Remember when we needed to trade Jeremy for whatever we could possibly get for him?
And then remember when he was Sir Bricks a lot, immediately following the non-trade.
I literally have been screaming from the mountaintops that this was gonna happen.
Bro, it happens every time.
And like, it's just one of those things where it's like, dude, literally,
It happens.
just let him get his feet under him. Let Jeremy get back from injury. Let him get healthy, and then he'll be fine. But it's like, oh no, like he's back from injuries. We're like not playing well. Is Detroit sure that this is a guy that they want in the future long term? I don't really know. But like, no, he is looking just fine. In fact, let's break it down. Since the game against Boston, Jeremy Grant is averaging 20 points a game. He's shooting 46% from the field. He's shooting 38% from three. He's getting 3 assists a game. Like, he's doing everything you want him to do. He's shooting the ball well. He's getting his own looks. He's making them. He's efficient. Throughout this entire run, Jeremy Grant's been everything we were wanting to see out of him. So, again, there's just a lot of things to be excited about, a lot of positive things. I hope they can keep this rolling. I know the schedule's only going to get tougher from here. We got the Bulls. Like, by the time this episode will have come out, we will have played the Bulls. We will have played.
They played a night.
They play tomorrow. They play Wednesday
tomorrow night.
They play. Yep. They play Wednesday night, and
then
then we play on Friday. We play the Celtics.
Yes,
Boston.
I did see the schedule for that. Yeah.
And then we play the Clippers on Sunday, and then we play the Heat on Tuesday. So it's like it's like the next 4 games. It's like playoff team.
Sure.
So it's gonna be tough. However, I mean, again, we've been playing playoff teams pretty much consistently now for the last little bit, and we've been doing pretty well. So, there's no reason that Detroit can't at least be competitive in a lot of these games. And I think,
yes,
for a lot of people that were looking for the things to be hopeful for, and when people are saying this sucks and like what's the point of all this, those days were what led to this.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but did not Ja Morant start off somewhat slow and not heat up and become this highlight reel until a little bit later in his first season or so?
No. He was hot right away. He was
hot right away?
He was pretty solid right away. Like, he was pretty, but like, even then, like, a lot of guys, do come in, like, they don't shoot the greatest from day one. Like, Ja, like, he came in and, like, he was like Cade, where the second half of his rookie year, he was definitively better than the first half. He was a lot like Cade in that way. But like, a lot of guys just, it is what it is. Those initial shooting performances, they are what they are. And like, it's every guy. Every guy's like,
didn't LeBron suck when he first started or some shit?
Well, he didn't have a jump
shot. But he
suck,
wasn't like, yeah.
Like, no, he didn't suck at all. No, like, I think,
and neither did really Cade. Like, Cade didn't suck. I mean, he wasn't like.
No, it was just, he was playing well in every area. His shot just wasn't falling.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
When a guy still has a positive impact on the court, guys still are trusting him to take the shot. That means they know he's that good. Like, they know the talent's there. The shots just got to fall. And there's a difference between not playing well and the shots just not falling. Because any other guy like Jalen Green, if the shot's not falling, he's not playing well, because that's his entire game is whether or not he's actually going to get points up on the board. But with Cade Cunningham, if he's not scoring, okay, I'm going to become a facilitator, or I'm going to be a defensive specialist, or I'm going to sit in the corner, or like I'm going to be in the corner and wait for open looks, or like he can literally do everything you need him to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like for Cade, it was never about the shot falling. Like I knew he was going to get his shot to fall. Like anyone that watched him play, he has a good jump shot. You know what I mean? It was just, and because like a lot of his shots at the beginning were just off the front of the rim. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of his shots looked very similar when they missed. So it's like, okay, yeah, he can fix that, and he has
easily.
He's been kick ass, and he's going to be an all-star. You know what I mean?
Like, I have a lot of faith in him. I think that he's definitely the type of guy that you want if you want to lead yourself to a championship. And I do think that this team looks like it is headed in the right direction to even be able to sniff or even say the word championship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, I've seen some hyperbole a little bit of, saying, oh, do the Pistons, have they found their big 3 in Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey, and Cade Cunningham? I think that's a little bit hyperbole.
I think it's a little too soon. I think they've
been playing very well together.
There's certainly an argument that Detroit could be looking to build around these guys. You know what I mean? Like, part of me is asking myself, did we find their big 3? Now, I still think Jeremy Grant's draft where he ultimately ends up will ultimately be told by the draft, because it's going to be whoever we're going to end up with, right? So if it's
Right.
so like, if we get a guy like Jabari Smith Jr. to come in with these guys, or like a Chet Holmgren, then it's like, all right, well, Jeremy's spot in the starting five is kind of, already accounted for in that way. You know what I mean? Like that's where they would end up. So I think now if we get like if we're out of the top three and we're a little later in the draft, if we're like even like the fourth or fifth pick, and we get a guy like Jordan Ivey out of Purdue, who's like a really good
Sure.
like two guard, like someone that could like slash and get to the rim, like help create for other guys, but also like get his own bucket. Like then at that point, Jeremy Grant looks pretty darn good to have in your basketball team, and you adjust. But again, it really does depend on what we do in the draft. But for right now, the idea that we can at the very least, the notion that these guys can't play together and that they don't fit well together, we can
Right.
start to put to that. We can start to put that to bed, because it's
For sure.
because it's inherently not true.
For sure. And I think that ultimately, if anything that this 3-game winning streak has sort of given us at least hope for, is that potentially as Cade gets better and finds his role better and is more consistently working with these guys, that he will just make the people around him better.
Which he's done. Like Marvin
which
Bagley,
he has obviously done.
Like Marvin Bagley, ever since he's come to Detroit, he's been awesome. And part of that's just been the dishes he's gotten. Like a lot of his buckets are coming off of assists from Cade, from Killian.
Yep.
Even Kelly Olynyk is getting him a lot of dishes, and those two are playing really well together. So like we're already seeing Cade make the guys around him better, which is really cool. Like we're seeing
right. I think that's
the
only way that this would be a big three, is if Cade can truly elevate those guys to being at that level. Now, I still think in general, I believe Sadiq Bey could be a part of a big three. I think he could be the number 3 on a big three potentially as he develops. I think that Jeremy Grant is gone. I do see him being traded. I just, as good as I think that he is for us, and I think as good as he could be for us, it's not that I want him gone, but I just see that as a very real possibility, especially because
it's a real possibility. I don't know if it's going to happen.
I think that for the Pistons, like the draft is obviously going to dictate a lot of it, but I think the big thing will be trying to find that true number 2 guy with Cade.
Yep.
And then I think from there, the reason why you would end up dishing a guy like Jeremy Grant is because either A, you've just replaced him, or B, because he's good enough to where if you can get somebody that you need a little more desperately, depending on how the team looks after the draft and stuff like that, you go ahead and do that. I just think he's our best trade chip that we have in a lot of ways, because I do think he's a very talented, good player. Like I said, it's not that I want to get rid of him, but I do think that at least the way that I view it, I think he's likely to be traded at some point when we need to shore up some limitation that we have.
Right. And I definitely think there is a lot of reason to think that he could be on the move this summer.
Yes.
But at the same time, my one pushback would be is that another thing with this, not even just the 3-game winning streak, but just the stretch over the past 10 plus. I would argue if they keep playing like this, it's not nearly as much of a foregone conclusion that he's getting traded. That would be my argument. If they can pick this up and like over the rest of the season, like over the next month, let's say they even go like 500.
Sure.
They're gonna be hard pressed to move Jeremy Grant. Now, I don't think they're going 500. I think in reality, I think we're gonna probably fall back down to earth a little bit this week, and I think we're gonna
big time.
I think we're probably I still think Cade will play really well. I still think we'll be more competitive. I still think we'll play good basketball. But again, at a certain point, the runs end, and also not having Beef Stew on the court for consistent minutes.
That's going to be huge.
We've seen the Pistons hurt with that. So with him missing time, that very much could spell the end of this run. Now, again, Marvin Bagley could come in. He could possibly play the 5. He could play pretty well. This could be a whole other conversation we're having. But again, there's certainly people saying, oh, the rest of this year's wash. We're not going to be in the playoffs anyway. What's the point? Well, this is the point. This is these are the things you look for, because even if the season's done on a big picture scale. We're not going to win a championship. The rest of these games for us are trivial and are for us getting development. It's still important. It's still crucial. And we're learning a lot about this team still on a game to game basis. So,
it's extremely important for the players as well, because I feel like you could see the same growth when the Phoenix Suns were kind of on their way to where they're at now.
Oh, definitely. Like when they had that
because the Suns, people made fun of them and they were like, this is this stupid franchise that should be sold. They're a fucking joke. They're basically a Taco Bell. Like, get them the fuck out of here.
Plenty of parking.
And then they're right, exactly. I mean, they were literally the butt of the joke, and then all of a sudden, it feels like for people who were not a consistent fan of that franchise, people looked at them that way, and it felt like literally overnight they became good. But if you were a consistent fan and watched them, which I was not, obviously,
if you paid attention, you
would have
Booker's
seen
growth.
them getting to this point. So now all of a sudden it's like they went from zero to hero. And the people will say the same thing about the Pistons. Like, I'm sure over the next year or two, all of a sudden they'll be, within the playoffs or whatever, and they'll probably have traded for a major star or whatever.
Memphis is an overnight thing. People are like
absolutely,
people are like, oh, they're overnight. How are they so good in the West? Well, it's like, John Morant. And
literally, if you have been watching them, you've been seeing that they've been slowly getting good. So it is one of those interesting things when you're not a fan of the team, or if you're not the Knicks or the Lakers, where people talk about you nonstop, no matter how much you suck. Then it does feel like an overnight success, but it just simply is not.
Oh, by the way, Robert, I do want to let you know there is a
you stupid motherfucker.
No.
Oh, is this not a Lakers jab? I thought you were bringing up the Lakers.
Oh no, it is a Lakers jab. It's just not at your expense. The difference.
Oh hell yeah.
So the Lakers, we actually made a rule on From Half Court last night as a recording. We record little inside baseball here. We record From Half Court Monday nights. We record Pizza Palace Tuesday nights.
That's right.
On Monday, I made the decree. And then proceeded to just shit on them for another 20 minutes. But we made the decree that the Los Angeles Lakers will not be mentioned on that podcast for the rest of the season unless there are significant developments, because they are not worth talking about.
They should also immediately be stripped from national television.
They should. Now, real quick. Yeah. Now let me jab you about the Lakers, because let me ask you. Because there was another tweet that I had sent you, and I felt like this was a pretty good, to me, this was a pretty good nail in the coffin on this bet. I don't know about you. The Pistons lost 12 of their 13 games from January 21 on. They lost 12 of their next 13. And they still have more wins than the Los Angeles Lakers since. That was as of March 4th. They had lost the next 12 of their 13. And they have Cade Cunningham, they have Sadiq Bey, and the Lakers have LeBron James. And in that stretch of time, the Detroit Pistons have gotten more wins than the Los Angeles Lakers. So with that, Robert, I ask you again, are you ready to give up on this goddamn bet?
Folks, we will see you here next week live on the Pizza Palace. Not live, but we will see you here next week. We love you all. Have a good week and take care of each other. And ow.